All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. NBA is back today. For all those D-gens out there, including myself, in the NHL streets yesterday. Happy to see some NBA back in our lives. 14 games. Oh, baby. It's going to be a big one like usual, Rio. Appreciate everyone hanging out, as always. Like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. Shout out to Mayo Media Network doing these shows Wednesday and Friday over here, and Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays on our channel at SHIPITNation.com. Rio, Hebrewcheetah, bring you in. How's the NBA been treating you? How was your day off yesterday? And talk a little bit about this monster 14-gamer.
Yeah, NBA has been pretty good for us over here. Definitely got a much-needed day off yesterday. I've been grinding, getting a ton of content up for the site since NBA started. Got a much-needed day off hanging out with my lady all day, so that was good. But yeah, I'm ready to get back into it. Spent a ton of time on the slate plan earlier last night, doing my game by game stuff. Took me a ton of time to get everything up, but yeah, I think I covered it as good as I can. Hopefully we can find some games to cross off and shorten the slate a little bit, make it a little bit easier on us.
Yeah, absolutely. Rio, what he's talking about is the slate plan we have on the site that breaks down upper tier, mid tier, lower tier. I'm not going to show it off today. We showed it out multiple times on this on the show. So if you do want to see his breakdown, then he writes notes for each of it as well. Top tier, mid tier, lower tier. It takes him a ton of time, very in depth. That is on the site at SHIPITNation.com, including projections, FanDuel, DraftKings. We'll have a correlation sheet. We'll have two tools that are going up sooner rather than later, the end of the month for November, early December, when we have more data, core report, Rio, Tambo, Hamwich, Nades on there, cash report, 4 core plays on both sites from myself. Then we have showdown content. Very few people do that. If you're having a rough day, or if at the end of the day, if you just can't be around your computer and you don't want to deal with 14 games today, Showdown usually has good prize pools as well. Rio does a piece of content, favorite captains, favorite flex plays, his exposure on there, and a slate breakdown there. And I've seen a lot of members have success in those Showdown streets as well. So everything you need to be successful, we have over here at Chip Nation. And if you do join, first of all, use that code MAYO. Let me pull that up quick. It'll get you 10% off either monthly, 6-month, annual, whatever package you do. Monthly, $69 a month. 6 months comes out to $59 a month. And then annual comes out to $49 a month. But use that code MAYO and you get 10% off all of those packages. And if you do join, make sure to get in the Discord too. It's a huge part. It's such a great community. We have so many knowledgeable members. And sports we don't even offer or charge for. College football, tennis. We have pieces in Discord as well. Smarty absolutely killing the college football streets. Multiple people. Like I said, tennis, I believe, is another one. We have a general discussion where some people talk NASCAR as well. But we don't cover those sports. We don't charge for those sports, but we have a Discord channel. A lot of members have had success with that. So head over to SHIPITNation.com. Again, use that code MAYO, gets you 10% off. And I do not think you'll regret it. It's a lot of success, a lot of screenshots. And we try and help you build your process. Again, projections, huge thing, ownership. We got it over here. Rio, before we get into this 14-gamer and go game by game, as always, injury news, NBA. I mean, I don't know if there's an NBA slate without injury news, especially a 14-gamer. Talk a little bit about the biggest injury news you're waiting on. People already talking, Zion, CJ out for the Pelicans. Obviously, that's big here, but some questionable tags we're waiting on, some news we've got. Just a broad overview while I somehow fix my camera.
So we got Anthony Davis got upgraded to questionable after sitting out the whole fourth quarter last game. So he was at shoot around, so I'm anticipating him to be in. Bradley Beal questionable. I don't think we've seen much for his injury status right now. Jalen Duren questionable. So that kind of is a big piece of news. Ben Simmons got downgraded throughout the day. Herb Jones questionable. Lou Dort for OKC questionable, and then Derek Lively on the Mavericks also got downgraded earlier. So those are the biggest ones. We got already Devin Vassell and Walker Kessler are going to be doubtful today, so I think we can kind of anticipate them to be sitting. And And then all the probable guys I'm anticipating that they're going to be playing. So mainly just, I think the Anthony Davis is probably the biggest one, but I'm expecting him to be in.
Yeah, good breakdown there. And I was happy to see the Lakers aren't the last game of the slate like they usually are, 8 p.m. Eastern. They're on the road in Houston today. So hopefully we have that AD news at least 30 minutes before their game, at least before that 7:30 lock time would be nice. Hopefully you have it even before that. Let's say hi to some people in chat before you and I put our foot down game by game. No time to really waste on slates like these. Good Lord, 14 gamers. Yes, it is Sean Sullivan and Sean Rooney. Hope the Sean's out there doing well. Spelling their name the same way too. Love to see that. Jordan Tweezy in here. Zim, Colin T, Mike Carr, Michael, DFS Rez, Theo, what is going on? Eric Garcia in here. OMG, Ross K. Appreciate everyone hanging out as always. And yes, as where's that comment right here? Updates constantly, never not working. Thank you as always. Yes, if you're in the Discord, you see projections. Our guy Boomer, SHIPIT Nation, constantly, like every 15 minutes before every single lock time, any news changes, those updates for projections, we are on it as well. Spelling it the correct way, Sean says. Hey, there you go. 2 people, SHAWM, SHAUN, not crazy either. That's enough of that, though, Rio. We got no time to waste on this slate. Again, 14. We'll go game by game. Start with the first one of the night, which big total and has some fantasy implications. Washington Wizards, Charlotte Hornets, 239.5 total. Charlotte is favored by 2. Going to the Charlotte side for the injury report, and this is where the big news is. Terry Rozier is out. Miles Bridges still out. Cody Martin out as well. So we'll get to the LaMelo price tag. He is definitely going to be one of the most popular plays on the slate, coming off a monster game. Going to the Washington side with the injury reports, I'm not seeing much at all on the Washington side. So really, Charlotte, when we're talking injury news, I think Kuzma and LaMelo are the 2 highest owned in this game. Tell me if you see something different and what's your approach. A big total to start this one off.
Yes, I mean, the Wizards are getting healthier now, so it's definitely going to widen the rotation a bit. I don't think we're going to see the upper 30s minutes from some of the guys we have been seeing. I'm seeing some high ownership on Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington. I'm guessing that's just a positional thing since small forward, power forward, usually pretty weak. LaMelo around 24%, what I'm seeing right now, so that looks pretty good. And yeah, Kuzma on the Wizards side is definitely going to be the highest owned. This game is going to be really fun. 2 of the fastest paced teams in the league. Washington is number 1 overall in terms of pace. They're also dead last in defense. Charlotte's 4th overall, 4th worst team in defense also. Wizards are giving up a ton of fast break points right now. Hornets are giving up the 6th worst fast break points on the year. Ton of points in the paint against the Wizards. So there's going to be a ton of fantasy goodness happening in this game. Start on the Washington side. I think that my player pool is just going to be condensed around Kuzma, Jordan Poole, and Tyus Jones. But I think I'll have the most exposure to Kyle Kuzma. He gets a pretty good matchup here. Wizards are the Hornets are one of the worst teams giving up 3-pointers, and Kuzma's been taking a bunch this year, so I like him the most. He's got points and rebounds, assist upside too. Seen a couple double-doubles from him on the year, so I like him the most. Jordan Poole for 100 less, I don't love. He's going to be super low owned, but the point guard position is pretty strong today, so I don't really want to waste a spot on him. And then Tyus Jones is just a price point thing, 5,600. He's fine there. I don't really have a ton of interest in Daniel Gafford. I'm seeing some ownership on him. Good price tag, 4,900, but Charlotte's actually really cleaned up their interior defense this year, and that's where Gafford's going to get most of his points. So I think I'm a little bit underweight on him. And then on the Charlotte side, yeah, I mean, you can make a case for 6 guys in this game, I think. 7 if you want to count Theo Maledon. I won't be playing him, but yeah, LaMelo Ball seems like a really, really strong play tonight. The pace of play is really going to benefit him a ton. He had a huge game last time, finally saw the minutes restriction kind of go away, got up to 39 minutes, had a 30-point triple-double, got up to 71 DraftKings points. So he looks like a really, really strong spend and, pretty like a really good price tag for him. I'm used to seeing him in the 9Ks. So I like him a lot in this matchup. Not super into the Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington. I guess you can get there if you just want to just lock those guys in those spots and just not have to worry about it. They're going to get you mid-30s most likely. I think PJ Washington might have slightly more upside just in terms of the matchup, but we haven't really seen it with him this year. Been kind of just hovering around the 30-point mark most of the season. And Mark Williams, I really like here. I think he has a ton of upside here. The Wizards are one of the worst teams at allowing points at the rim. And, he was on like a loose minutes restriction to start the year. I think that's now kind of been lifted. So we could see him and LaMelo get up to 35, 38 minutes. He could really pay off this tag in a big way. So I really like him. Brandon Miller is going to be starting again. Been shooting the ball terribly, but good price tag, 5,800. Small forward, power forward. So I don't mind him. And then Nick Richards can be used as a value piece. Only 4,700. Has just as good of a matchup as Mark Williams. Just the minutes are going to be a lot lower. But yeah, that's going to be it for me on this game.
Yeah, this is one of the best games. Like if I had a game stack a game on this slate, this probably would be my favorite. And like there's definitely going to be some ownership in this one, but it's also a 14-game slate where we're waiting on a lot of injury news. So if we don't have like the AD news before this game and stuff, it'll be interesting to see where ownership goes. LaMelo and Kuzma, I think, will be the highest owned. If I had to pick two, they are my favorite as well. But I think there's multiple options. You didn't have as much interest in Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington. I definitely like them a lot more than you in that mid-tier build. I mean, Gordon Hayward, both PJ and Gordon Hayward, I'm expecting to play about mid-30s minutes. Hayward's usage last game, 32. Without Rozier, who chucks a lot. I mean, PJ mainly, I like Hayward more, but PJ for the power forward center eligibility, small forward, power forward for Hayward. But on FanDuel, the PJ Washington's power forward center eligible, especially power forward, usually one of the weaker positions. He's even going to be higher owned over there, and I prefer him over there, but I think he's still strong on DK. I like Gordon Hayward, though. He's chucking. He's playing mid-30s minutes, and without Rozier in a fast-paced game, he would be my second favorite behind LaMelo. On the Washington side, yeah, Kuzma's like – I get Jordan Poole at 7.4, but I like Kuzma so much more. I get it if you want to take the ownership discount. It could be, 4 times, 5 times. It's just Kuzma fills it up in way – in the peripheral stats, way more than Poole. He's so scoring dependent. He's been playing like a clown. I don't really think I need Jordan Poole on this slate. Gafford, I think you talked me off a little bit of him because there is plenty of center options. Gafford's going to get some ownership too. But going to the other side, you mentioned your love for Mark Williams. He's going to be low owned. I always like playing Mark too. The upside's there. You're not worried about the minutes. I think I'll prefer Mark in tournaments. Go to the other side of that game, and ownership will definitely be a lot less. So, like if you want a Tyus, someone could say a Brandon Miller. I don't think that's crazy. I need to see Miller start making shots first, and I just like Gordon Hayward and LaMelo's. I just think they're going to take up way too much usage for Miller to get there, hit his ceiling on a 14-game slate. So not much there. Tyus I'm fine with. But yeah, my favorites, it's LaMelo and Kuzma. They're going to be the highest owned. I really like Gordon Hayward. You talked me into some Mark Williams as well, and I have more interest in PJ Washington than you do. But huge total. Injury news on the Charlotte side. Kuzma's still underpriced this game. Going to get some ownership, and rightfully so. Last thing before I get to the next one, how many Charlotte Hornets would be too many? I feel like your answer, though, because you don't even really like much outside of LaMelo and some Mark Williams, like you won't have any more than 3 and maybe even 2. What's your answer to that? Probably
3, but I think I don't think I could see myself getting to more than 2. You kind of talked me into Gordon Hayward a little bit. That position is really weak on the slate, so I wouldn't mind having 3 of them, but I think my preference would be 2 probably. Yeah, the small forward, power forward is nice, and the price tag makes a lot of work, but at the end of the game, it's a 14-game slate, and again, injury news, you have to, if you are plugging in 4 of these, obviously have them at point guard, shooting guard, all of that first, and if injury news breaks, like if AD's out or some other injury news, just always be around your computer at the end of the day for NBA. That doesn't change at all. What's going on, Michelle? Hope everything's going well. Moen, K-Ped, Mark in here, David in here. OMG, I already mentioned him. Jay Crowder starting tonight. We're not on that one, but I'm expecting him to. Let's get to the next game on the slate. 13 more to talk about. Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, 227 total. Boston is favored by 2.5. On the Boston side, there is no injury news we're waiting on the Philly side. Let me pull that up quick. I'm still not seeing anything on the Philly side either. So a healthy game, pretty low total, especially compared to the last game we were talking about. I don't like this game. I don't think people like this game. If I play anyone, it's Joel Embiid, 11K. There's enough value on the slate that I think you can make it work.
Outside of him, though, I'm expecting a hard-nosed, low-scoring game. The Celtics are always so tough when they're healthy. Is it a JB game? Is it a Tatum game? So many mouths there. Drew Holiday, of course. And then on the Sixers side, yeah, it's usually just Embiid or bust. I do think we have the money. I think a little ownership, but I'm not expecting anything crazy by any means. So Embiid or nothing. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same for me. These are two of the best defensive teams and two of the top teams in the East. It should play like a playoff game type atmosphere. Usage is just going to be condensed around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. So that would be my only interest on the Philly side. And then, yeah, I only keep Tatum and Jaylen Brown in my pool for this game, but I would just be max one of them because I don't really have a strong lean on which one's going to be the one to go off. But mostly a fade for me outside of Embiid.
Yeah, I like that. I would make that rule max one as well. They're just, man, those two getting – I pretty much always make that rule on like 7-8 games or higher on a 14-game slate. There's no chance. I want both of them in my same lineup. So we're lockstep there. Easy fade. And again, I think ownership will follow. Next game on the slate, Utah Jazz, Indiana Pacers. Big total, 242. Pacers are favored by 6.5. Going to the injury report, the Pacers are healthy. On the Utah side, though, Walker Kessler, you mentioned it earlier, is doubtful. So that's a big bump for what looks to be Kelly Olynyk. I'm expecting him to start. Even if he doesn't start, I still think he's a fine play. Obviously, his projection would get a bump down. Ownership would go down as well, but you'd still have to play mid-20s minutes is my guess. But I'm expecting him to start. He's grades out as by far the best play in this game. I think ownership will follow. I love me some Tyrese Halliburton. I always do. And there's no different in this one. Big total, double-double machine. Sign me up for Tyrese always. One of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. I think Miles Turner as well at $7K. The price has got up there a little bit, especially from the start, but rightfully so. Double-double machine there as well. Pick and roll with Tyrese is nasty. You can step back, hit some threes, big total, big nice pace. So I like Turner and Tyrese, that pairing. Kelly Olynyk on the Utah side. After that, I don't know. It'd just be like an MME if I land on a Bruce Brown or THT, a Clarkson, so be it. But I don't love any of those plays. So Tyrese, my favorite, though, with ownership in this one. What about you?
Yeah, definitely Tyrese going to be my favorite play on the Indiana side. These teams are two of like the worst defensive teams in the league. They're just allergic to playing defense. Pacers are really bad at defending the rim right now. So I actually think that kind of boosts up guys like John Collins, Kelly Olynyk too. I was really excited to play Walker Kessler if he was in. Obviously, he got downgraded. He's probably going to be out, so can't play him. But it's a really good matchup for John Collins here, 6K. Minutes have been really solid, been getting a double-double most nights. I think he has some sneaky upside. You know, the power forward spot, just like we said, it's pretty weak, so I don't mind him. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing looking at a 7-point spread right now, the issue with Jazz games, I always want to attack them, but they're just not able to keep games close right now. So it kind of docks a lot of the upside from the opponents. So I am a little skeptical about playing guys like Halliburton and Turner as much as I really like the matchup for them. You know, you have LaMelo Ball in a more competitive game environment with $900 in savings. So I would probably prefer that, but I think maybe a way to play it if you're going to play Halliburton and boost up some of the main rotation pieces for the Jazz, like Lauri Markkanen, John Collins. I don't really like the matchup for Clarkson as much, but yeah, Lauri Markkanen's kind of an interesting GPP play, just like a large field tournament type play, 8,700. Nobody's going to click on him. Game's going to be one of the fastest paced games on the whole slate. And if the game is close, it's likely because Lauri Markkanen is having a big game. We've seen him put up 57 points twice this year, so I know he has that upside, so I wouldn't mind him. But yeah, basically it's going to be Halliburton and Turner. I'm fine playing them together, but then I would just be max one. The rest of the Pacers guys, I just can't see multiple of them getting there. And then, yeah, Olynyk is fine. He's a really good value on the slate. Even if he's not starting, like you said, he's going to be a good value. So I like him. And then probably Lauri and John Collins are my next favorite plays on the Jazz side. Yeah,
I definitely love Olynyk, but he's going to be very owned, especially if he is starting. And you mentioned the John Collins, solid matchup there. I kind of like it. I mean, you get direct leverage. You can definitely play Kelly O and Olynyk together. It's not necessarily like the Houston Texans with Singletary. If Singletary scores, it's not going to be tanked out, whatever, as we saw this last week. they can all get there together. But if you're trying to make a reason to fade very chalky Kelly O, I think John Collins at 6K, affordable price, good game environment. Maybe he steals a lot of the board, something like that. So John Collins would be my second favorite play. But yeah, always Tyrese over here, and I love him in this spot for sure. Jalen Smith for low price or low center gets 20 points or 20 fantasy points per minute. Not on this slate in my mind, in my opinion. I mean, especially pretty much anyone coming off the bench, most people coming off the bench on a 14-game slate, I don't get to as much, but there's just too much. The reward is not worth the risk, in my opinion. Any thoughts there?
No, I wouldn't want to lock in a player at that price tag first game of the slate when we have some more injury news throughout the night. I'd rather just have a little bit more flexibility to move things around. I mean, he's fine, 4,100. He's gonna get 20 minutes. I mean, is 22, 19 or whatever's projected for 18, 19 points going to be enough at 4,100? I'm not sure. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, I mean, he might be like 0.5% owned. Like, there's enough better plays that are still going to be very low owned on a slate like this. I think that's more of a they're not even on the night slate. If it was a turbo slate, early slate, something like that with only a couple games is where I'd get there. But let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, San Antonio Spurs, New York Knicks, 223.5 total. Knicks are favored by 10. The Knicks are healthy. On the Spurs side, Devin Vassell is doubtful. Doubtful. So I still don't like this game much. I mean, man, I hate these Knicks and targeting them. If I play anyone, it's usually Jalen Brunson. 8.3K still probably would be my favorite. I think Randall is fine, I guess. Mitrob is fine, I guess. I don't really like this game at all. Probably max one of these Knicks guys. Brunson's my favorite, but yeah, I like plenty of other games and spots more. So more of a pass and a full fade for me. What about you?
Yeah, I completely X out all of the Spurs guys. They're going to get blown out most nights right now, and their defense is just terrible. It's a sneaky good matchup for Mitchell Robinson, though. The Spurs are giving up a ton of points at the rim. He's got huge rebound upside. I've seen him go for 15, 16 last 3 games. So he's got some sneaky upside at 5,300. But really, that's going to be it for me. Just Mitchell Robinson is probably the only one in my player pool right now.
I like it. Again, before we get to the next game, we try and answer some questions most days. It's a lot easier on Tuesdays when Rio and I are on than Wednesdays with so many games to talk about, though. But when we go game by game, like thoughts on Barrett, we didn't mention him, so we just don't really like him. If we don't mention a player during the game, I would just assume that we don't really like it. Barnes or LaMelo or Mitchell. LaMelo is going to grade out better than almost all these guys, but if your line was fully chalky, playing Mitchell, I think to get different is totally fine as well. Appreciate that like button. 160 people watching. I know a lot of people watch on playback as well. Everyone out there watching live, watching on playback, we do appreciate it a ton. We also appreciate that like button. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, helps us out a ton, helps out Mayo Media Network. We appreciate Mayo having us on this channel. So like button helps us a ton. Hit the subscribe button. Then head over to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button there as well. We do NBA shows Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday over there. And of course, if you do want to join ShipItNation.com, use that promo code Mayo. We got NFL, NBA, PGA, MMA, big MMA card this week, NHL as well. A lot of people, Nades has been crushing some success in the Discord yesterday. Use that code, get in the Discord, projections, ownership, core reports, tools will be coming out soon, showdown cash reports or showdown player pool report from Rio, all on the site. No better deal, $69 a month. $59 a month for our 6-month package, and then annual comes out to $49 a month. And make sure to use that code Mayo and get in the Discord. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Los Angeles Clippers, Brooklyn Nets, 231.5 total. Clippers are favored by 5.5. Going to the injury report, not much on the Clippers side. Terrence Mann is questionable, but it's not going to move the needle for me on this slate. More injury news on the Brooklyn side that will. Claxton and Cam Johnson are out. And Ben Simmons, a midday downgrade, too questionable. So talk on the injury news on the Nets side, what Simmons would do for you, and then any interest on the Clippers side.
Yeah, if Simmons is out, it's going to boost up guys like Dinwiddie and Mikal Bridges in terms of ball handling role. I think it would probably boost up Dinwiddie the most, but there's not really a ton that I like in this game. I mean, the Clippers, when fully healthy, are pretty much a full fade for me. If you want to make a case for anybody Zubac is going to be going against a small ball center on the other side, and Dorian Finney-Smith, so you can make a case for him. But 5,900 seems way too expensive.
Are you worried about them going small more, or you're confident that they'll keep Zubac and just demolish him down low?
I think his minutes are pretty safe, but I just don't think that the upside is really there at almost 6K. So, yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't think
it'll go small. You don't think Zubac's going to get 20 minutes or something and this game goes small?
I mean, it is a possibility because I think that Plumlee is going to be out, so maybe they give more center minutes. Yeah, to PJ Tucker.
PJ.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's not opening up a ton of minutes.
Sucks anyway.
Yeah, so it's not opening up anything. DFS. Yeah, so as long as everybody is healthy, I just don't see how you can play any one of these guys. I mean, the price tag is really good on Kawhi at 8,500, but you have James Harden, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook there soaking up usage. I can't play that. If you want to play Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges, I definitely wouldn't fault you. They're going to be taking over 50% of the field goals for this team. Matchup is not great going against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but those would be the only two guys I'd be keeping my player pool on the net side right now.
Yeah, I don't really like this game much either, especially on the Clippers side. Like Kawhi and LaMelo are just so closely priced, and I get it if you want a huge ownership discount, but 14-game slate, there's plenty of other spots that I'd rather get different. And on Brooklyn side, I think Cam Thomas is fine. A 7K is way up there, but man, we just know this dude can put up 50 real ones any day. So I think Cam Thomas in tournaments would be my only interest on this one. And I'm always good playing Cam. If you want a Bridges or something, I think he would be my second favorite. That $600 difference, though, leads me to Cam Thomas over Bridges if I had to pick. But one of the worst games on the slate total. Now, let's say if Ben Simmons is out, what about like a Royce O'Neal? First of all, who do you think would start? Probably Royce. I don't know. Darian Sharp, maybe. Wouldn't be surprised if they want to go a little. What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, I think it would be Royce O'Neal starting, and he would have a really high minute ceiling. He's never been a really big fantasy producer, so I don't think that the Ben Simmons news is really going to move the needle that much for me on any of the Nets players in particular.
Yeah, 5.2K. I agree with you there. If it was a Darian Sharp, he's still 4 or 5. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they went Sharp over Royce just to get the matchup with Zubac, a more traditional center, but. Yeah, this game's not great. Let's go to a game that I don't know how much better it is for DFS. Phoenix Suns, Chicago Bulls, 218.5 total. Chicago is favored by 1. Going to the Phoenix side, Bradley Beal's questionable, so big news there. Devin Booker is still out, so obviously Bradley Beal news is big. Same time as we'll get the AD news as well, or they start at the same time, I should say. Maybe we'll get that news hopefully before lock, but it starts 1 hour after lock. AD and Beal news is. And then on the Bulls side, the Bulls are healthy. Throwing it to you. Actually, I'll start in this one. When the Bulls are healthy, it's always tough to click the names. Vooch, Levine, DeRozan, 7-4, 7-5, 7-3. They're like baiting you to pick the guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if any of them gets there. I think on this 14-game slate, I like to rule max 1 of these 3. And I don't really have a lean. Vooch is always my preference just because I think he has the highest floor with the rebounding, and Levine kind of scoring dependent, DeRozan scoring dependent. So I pick Vooch, but yeah, I don't really I like a lot of other spots more in this price range. So no thanks really on that side, but I don't like the Phoenix side at all. Beal in or out, I don't like the price up like he is out still. So yeah, nothing on the Sun side. Max 1 of the Bulls or the Bull studs. If I had to pick, it's Vooch, but it's no strong lean. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much in lockstep with you. I'm always max 1 of the big 3 for them, and then I'm fine letting Kobe White float. Yeah, I do lean Vucevic. He does have a pretty solid matchup here. The Suns are third worst at rim defense this year, and Vooch is averaging about 4.4 field goals made near the rim this year, so he should get a pretty solid matchup. But I mean, the price tag 7,400 and the center spot, which is pretty. You need the center spot. There's some good spend ups and spend downs there, so I don't know if you can really make the case to spend 7,400 on Vooch, who doesn't really have that big of a ceiling. Yeah, and the Beal news doesn't really change much for me either. The Bulls are one of the slowest paced teams in the league, and it seems like everybody else from the Sun side is priced up as if Beal was out. So I just don't see like 5,700 for Eric Gordon seems too expensive. 55 for Grayson Allen, too much. I mean, even Drew Eubanks, who's a backup center, is at 5,200. So I don't see how you can really get to anybody in this game.
Yeah, we're lockstep there. Like, and the center is a great position. And I look at Vooch, and then I look at someone in his range, like a Miles Turner we talked about. And I prefer Miles Turner. He just has way less competition around him for shots. But I don't think maxing one of these guys is crazy. If you're doing the $3.20 max with tens of thousands of people in it, stuff like that, a 5% less, Levine, DeRozan, or Vooch is fine. I just don't want two of them in the same lineup. We talked a little bit about, or I had a question down there I wanted to get to. I missed it. Hawkins Sasser, we'll get to that. That's very close, though. Two good play. Oh, yeah. Branham for the Spurs value. We don't like that. And then Andrew Martinez at GPP. You can always play chalky pieces and get different on a couple guys, correct? And that is absolutely correct. And that is pretty much how you should play NBA DFS. If you have everyone 15% or less on your team, you're probably doing something wrong in NBA. Whereas if MLB, NHL, if you played yesterday, it's very common to see winners with all sub 10% guys, stuff like that. So chalk is for a reason most times in NBA. You need some chalk pieces, get different in some other spots. Exactly. Let's keep it rolling. Again, like button helps us out a ton. We do appreciate it in advance. 14 games to talk about, so not much time to waste. Still at 8 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets, 220.5 total. Lakers are favored by 4.5. Going to the Lakers side, and this is what we talked about. Anthony Davis is questionable. If he's out, probably Christian Wood starts. I know you think he will play. That's my lean as well. Hopefully we get this news before lock, though. But Jackson Hayes, also questionable, which, I mean, if AD and Hayes were out, definitely Christian Wood gets a bump there. Because I do think if, like, AD was out and Wood was in, that Hayes would eat some minutes as the backup 5. And then going to the other side with the Rockets, nothing we have to worry about there for injury news. Nothing questionable, no out pieces. That change a lot. Talk a little bit about AD. I know you mentioned you think he plays. If he's in, what does that do for you in this one? If he's out, what does that do for you?
Yeah, if he's in, the Lakers are going to be pretty much an X out spot for me. These two teams are just two of the slowest in the league. The Rockets are dead last in pace. Lakers are 8th. I mean, the game total kind of reflects that. It's barely at 220 right now, so I don't think that we're going to see huge fantasy scores here. I would really like Christian Wood though. If both AD if AD is out for sure, would like Christian Wood. But if both AD and Hayes are out, we could see a ton of minutes from Christian Wood. And little revenge game if you're into that kind of stuff. But yeah, on the Rocket side, it's pretty easy for me to break down. It's just I don't really want to play Sengun against Anthony Davis. There's a lot of foul risk for anybody that's guarding Anthony Davis. So I wouldn't want to play him. He's been really good this year, though, so I would definitely having a kind of a breakout year. So I like him as a player, but not in this matchup. And then mostly just want to attack the Lakers with guards. So I would just keep in Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green. They're both kind of expensive, though, for this game environment. So I don't love it, but those would be the two guys I would like on the Rocket side.
All right, so let's say if AD's in, because if AD's out, LeBron's a good play for sure at 9.5K. Because we've had multiple people talk about it, but it's the Dylan Brooks saying he's going to lock up LeBron, all of this stuff. Dylan Brooks, complete clown, of course. But is there any? It's not stuff I like wade into it, especially on a 14-game slate. But I do think the price tag on LeBron is fine at 9.5, and I don't think ownership will be there. Small forward, power forward eligibility, I think is interesting. If AD's out, LeBron becomes popular, and he's a great play for sure there. But what are your thoughts if AD's in, if you can get to LeBron and that narrative?
No, if AD's in, I don't really want to play LeBron. I don't think that this is really a game where they're going to give him 37, 38 minutes because they've been trying to limit him a little bit. I know that they need to win games, and they need him to win games. But just like with everything, with the matchup for him, the pace of the play, I don't really want to play LeBron at 9.5 when I think there's much better spend ups. That's
fair. I will say, yeah, if AD's in though, I think he's my favorite play in this game because people are scared with the questionable news. If he plays, I'm expecting a normal AD, and he's sub 10K. Yeah, of course, 9.9K right there, but ownership won't be there. You know, the upside is always there. He would be my favorite if he's in. And and I like your talk or your shout, if AD's out, it's like we always look at what that does for the Lakers, but it would help Sengun. I mean, Christian was awful on defense, and Sengun's a complete stud. So I would really love Sengun if AD was out. I love that call. Dollar Tree version of Jokic is what I call him, and I don't know if I'm insulting Jokic or Sengun, probably more Sengun side, but the dude's good for sure, and he can fill it up in triple-double upside. Great passer, young, great footwork, so I do like that. Price feels a little expensive. Huge bump, though, if AD is out, so great shout there. Monitor the AD news. It is very important. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slates. Plenty to talk about still. Cleveland Cavaliers, OKC Thunder, 228 total. Cleveland is favored by 2.5. Not much injury news on this game. Okoro, the cardio king, is out for Cleveland. Nothing else really there. OKC side, Lou Dort is questionable. So, it's kind of, I guess, important news. On a 14-gamer, it means a little less, though, but Lou Dort does have a big role on this team. We talked about Donovan Mitchell, or someone brought him up. Dude's absolutely been on a scorcher. Price has been moving up, though, at 9.6K. This is really just a max one. Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, stuff like that. I'm fine with one of them because they're going to be 3% owned or less. But I don't know which one's going to go off. And if I'm playing one team or only a couple teams, I'm not getting to this game. SGA's price is up there. It's a pretty easy fade for me. What about you?
Yeah, I have a tough time paying up for either one of SGA and Donovan this matchup. They're both, more so Donovan Mitchell, just super scoring dependent. He's been really good this year scoring, so I'm not taking anything against him. But I kind of, if I'm spending up for somebody, I want somebody that has the double-double or triple-double upside in terms of DraftKings scoring. Just you get way more bang for your buck in that way.
Way higher floor, too. Like a 9.6, way higher floor too, like a 9.6, and he gets you 30 real ones. That you can very well still have a snowflake. With the ADs of the world at 9.9, of course, different positions, but you feel so much better. You know, at least some boards are falling in his lap.
Right. Yeah. So and then Cleveland's getting fully healthy right now. Everybody's been kind of priced up. Garland 7.2, Mobley 7.9, LeVert, Allen, Strus all above 6K. So I don't think this is the place to play any of them really. I'd probably just X them out completely. I mean, the matchup is good. OKC does play super fast pace. Would be a slight boost for Donovan if Lou Dort is out. He's a really solid defender. I think that they would probably slide in the rookie Casey Wallace into the lineup to guard him. They trusted Wallace with the Steph Curry matchup a few nights ago. He's a really solid defender, scrappy rookie. So I mean, I'm definitely not playing him for DraftKings. I'm just saying that would kind of boost up Donovan Mitchell's matchup a little bit. And yeah, I think OKC is a pretty easy X out. Cleveland's going to be getting much stronger on defense, getting these guys back, especially Jared Allen. I mean, he's going to be locking down the paint, and that's kind of where SGA gets most of his points anyway. So I just don't really want to attack this team with somebody like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think if you go, this is how you got to play 14-game slates, and I think we've done a great job at it so far. We said, 3-4 games already that we've talked about that. Yeah, you can play a max one if they fall in larger field stuff, fine, but like single entry stuff, we already gave 3-4 games. You can completely cross it off, and that's how I recommend. 14 games are very overwhelming for a lot of people, especially with injury news, and rightfully so. But crossing off games and making a 14-game slate, a 10-game, an 8-game, or stuff like that makes it a lot easier on people or on everyone. And then also, yes, if a game goes off, you don't have, you're drawn dead. But if you get that stuff right, you limit so much ownership. It's going to be spread out. A couple guys are going to be very high owned and stuff, but you'll see plenty of randoms, 4, 5, 6%. And those 4, 5, 6% add up in a hurry, especially in larger field stuff. So, yeah, this game, not much interest. Let's get to the next game. I think we will have some interest in this one. Detroit Pistons, Milwaukee Bucks, 227.5 total. The Bucks are favored by 12.5. I mentioned we'll have some interest because Jalen Duren's questionable, Jaden Ivey's out, Bojan Bogdanovic is out, and Alec Burks is out. Joe Harris, I guess, is out as well. But a lot of injuries in the Detroit side, and Duren news could make it even more interesting, mainly for Bagley there. On the Milwaukee side, Chris Middleton is out. Someone mentioned earlier, is Crowder going to start? He started the last game he was out. I expect him, Jay Crowder, that is, to start again. Looking at this side, though, the Bucks, a lot easier for me. Crowder, I think, is fine at 3.9K, small forward, power forward eligibility. Some people, Spencer was asking in chat, like more balance, more starts and scrubs. I don't really love this 3K range much. Crowder 3.9, so he does fit in that range, but I think he's fine. The mid 4K range, going to the other side of the ball right here in Sasser, Marcus Sasser at 4.5, Killian Hayes at 4.9. I do prefer them over Crowder. Sasser will be one of the higher owned plays on the slate, I think, in the mid tier. Just with so many injury news in the backcourt for the Pistons, he's got to play low 30s minutes, double digit shot attempts the past 3 games. So if his shot falls, definitely has some upside there at 4.5. Outside of those two, like I said, I like Killian Hayes too. He's going to be lower owned. I'm good with him and Sasser. I think you can play them together as well. Mention Crowder. Giannis, if I'm spending or in this game, he'd be my next favorite at 10.5, but I don't know, man. What is it going to like? It's not the same Giannis as the last year and the years before with Dame, with the new coach early in the year. I don't know if I love that. I think I probably like the LaMelo savings more. Even AD, I think, is very interesting. So touch on Giannis. I'm very curious to see what you say there because the price tag is interesting. Touch on Sasser and touch on Duren news because that would be huge stuff for Bagley.
Yeah, I think the Duren news actually will change a lot. The Pistons have been really good defending the interior with Duren in there. Definitely slid the last couple of games with him out. So I think that's a really big boost for Giannis if Duren is out. I think I like Giannis a little bit more than you do at 10.5. I mean, I don't remember the last time we've seen Giannis like consistently in the 10Ks for DraftKings. I mean, he's always in the 11 to 12Ks. Obviously, having Dame in the lineup it's going to take away some usage from him. But the last game, it was kind of a glimpse of like what Giannis, his old self. He went 36, 12, and 3, 38% usage rate, which is up from his yearly total. I think that if those numbers kind of are sticky, then he could definitely compete with the top ceiling guys on the slate. And yeah, a big boost if Duren is out, man, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Crowder is probably fine if he's starting 3,900. There's not a ton of people in the 3K right now that you really want to play, so I think he would be okay. I don't really love anybody else on the Bucks side except for Giannis and Crowder probably. I think that Beasley's starting spot is probably going to be up for grabs pretty soon. He's been terrible defensively. Him and Dame are just two of the worst defenders against guards in the league right now. I mean, we saw Jalen Brunson and Cam Thomas both go for 45 in back-to-back games against them. And that really makes me like Cade Cunningham here. I think he's going to be super low owned, 8,400. He's been getting minutes in the 40s, upper 30s. 39 and 40 in the last 2 games without Ivy and Burks. Hasn't really had that huge game yet, but I mean the matchup could not be better versus these two guard defenders in Damian Lillard and Malik Beasley. His role has been super strong too. He's averaging 17 drives a game. We could see a sneaky little mini stack with Giannis and Cade Cunningham. That little mini stack kind of went off the other night against Brooklyn, where he had Cam Thomas go for 50-something and Giannis went for 62. So I wouldn't mind pairing those two guys, or just having a boost if then in the solver. And then Killian Hayes and Marcus Sasser are both pretty good values for the same reasons that I like Cade. Matchups can be really good. Sasser's been really, really good this year. Minutes are strong in the 30s. Had an off shooting night finally. He was shooting just lights out for 3 games in a row. His minutes feel pretty safe. So I like the guards here mostly. I don't have a ton of interest in Asar Thompson at 6,900 if he's going to be, getting the Giannis assignment a little bit. They've been kind of putting him on the best wing defenders lately. So it could be him or Isaiah Stewart. So whichever one is going to be guarding Giannis, I have little interest in just for the foul risk. But yeah, the Duren news is kind of the biggest in this game.
And so so Duren's out, big bump to Giannis, you're saying. Obviously, Bagley would probably be one of the highest owned plays on the slate as well. So question, I love the Cade shout for sure. And looking into it even more, is Cade, Killian Hayes, and Sasser, are they going to split all 2 of the 3 are going to be on the court constantly at the 1 and 2? I mean, they just don't have how much is Thompson going to play the two? Like Bagley's down there. There's a Moody guy. They have a really short bench. Does the Pistons, and a lot of it is bigger guys. So from how I'm seeing it, Cade, Killian, and Sasser, those two of the three are going to be on the court almost all 48 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at their rotation on the popcorn machine right now. It looks like Sasser checked in for Hayes and then had some overlap with Hayes when Cade came out. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're going to have at least 1 to 2 of these guys on the court at all times. So, yeah, matchup is really good for all of them. So I would definitely have a ton of interest in the guards for the Pistons.
Yeah, thanks for looking at popcorn. I was too lazy to pull that up myself, too. I was digging through the minutes in their roster. But I love the Cade shout because Sasser's going to be very popular. Killian Hayes, I think, is fine, too. But just flipping the build and going instead of the cheap Detroit guys. And, yes, you can play Sasser and Cade together. You can play Hayes and they don't negatively correlate. And I think 2 of the 3 will be on the court almost all game long. So definitely can play them. But I really do like that Cade shout, playing all the minutes in the world. Not many are going to play him and has that big time upside. So Cade Giannis is interesting. Yes, it is very expensive. But there's enough salary to make it work. And also go Cade Crowder, stuff like that. Definitely interesting and good game to target. And Jalen Duren news is very important and would change a little bit on the slate. Isaiah Stewart gets a bump. Bagley gets a bump. Let's keep it rolling. Plenty to talk about again. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And if you want all of our premium content, projections, ownership, core reports, cash reports, showdown content, NHL content, MMA content, PGA, NFL, everything you need. One low price, $69 a month $69 a month. $59 a month it comes out to for 6-month package, and then comes out to $49 a month for our annual package. And to make that even cheaper, use that promo code MAYO, gets you 10% off all of those packages. Back to it, Rio. Still got, feels like we're almost done, but we still aren't almost done. 5 games left to talk about. 5 games. Miami Heat, Memphis Grizzlies, 218 total. Miami is favored by 1. Going to the Miami side, no injury news we're waiting on, nothing important there. The same cannot be said for the Memphis side, though. Conchar is doubtful. John Morant obviously is going to be out for a while. Xavier Tillman is out, though. So I think Biyombo will get another start at center. On a slate like this, with how loaded center is, and a 14-game slate, we talked about some value. Not sure Biyombo is someone I really want to be clicking at 5.1K. Other stuff in this game, I think Jimmy at 8-1 if you want to get really contrarian. Jaren Jackson, tough matchup, but he always has that upside. Will be low owned. Ownership's not going to be here in this game. I guess Luke Kennard at 4K. What are your thoughts on some value there? We just talked about Crowder at 3.9, Sasser at 4.5, Luke Kennard 4K. I don't really like Luke Kennard. I don't like this game in general. I don't like picking on Miami and playing games like that too much. Healthy teams, it's a pass. But what are your thoughts on Kennard at 4K for some salary relief?
Yeah, I mean, he's fine. Shooting guard eligible, which is kind of nice. The shooting guard spot is a little bit, I kind of want to spend down there a little bit, so I wouldn't mind mixing him in. Looks like he'll be coming in with some ownership, but he should be seeing a ton of minutes. He got us to 32 last game, and normally he's just a shooter, but he's getting it done with a couple assists here and there, a couple rebounds. So he's probably a pretty decent value. Now that I'd actually kind of overlooked this last night when I was going over this game. I mean, the Heat, the matchup is getting a little bit better or a little bit worse for teams against the Heat. They were really struggling against teams defensively to begin the year, but they're kind of, they're getting a little bit better. Jimmy's getting a little bit healthier.
We know that's not going to stay.
Yeah.
They're team with these guys. Yeah.
They're a good defensive team historically. So I would anticipate that those numbers are going to keep rising. So I don't really want to attack them with either one of Bane or Jaren Jackson. They're both really priced up. I like it better on a shorter slate or better matchup for Bane and Jaren. So yeah, I don't really have a ton of interest in any of the Grizzlies outside of Luke Kennard. I don't see how you can pay $5,100 for Bismack against Bam Adebayo. That's just insane to me. I don't know Kenny Lofton got 10 minutes last game. It seems like they're going to want to have a center out there at all times. I don't know. I don't think there's anything there really. I was just kind of mentioning him, but
any Bane, Bam, Jimmy, Jaren Jackson, would you make a rule max 1? Any thoughts on any of them? They're all low owned and they all have upside, but it's also they don't grade out the best point per dollar. There's better game environments. It's a huge slate. So any of those stick out?
No, not really. I would probably max one Bane, Jaren Jackson, and then let Luke Kennard float. On the Heat side, one person I did want to mention, I haven't written in the slate plan right now. Very low owned pivot off of like the 3,900 4K range is Duncan Robinson. The Grizzlies are dead last in 3-pointers allowed, and obviously Duncan is a 3-point shooter. He's a very core piece to this rotation. Got 26, 30 minutes and back-to-back games. It could just be one of those random games where Duncan Robinson gets hot and hits 4 or 5 threes and somehow ends up with 28, 30 DraftKings points, and he's just super low owned. Definitely not like a single entry type play. It's a 20 max to 150 max type of play. I would definitely mix in some of him.
Yeah, I like that shout. He's going to be very low, very, very low owned. The 3K range isn't very good at all. And you look at it, 6 threes, 8, 6, 7, 10, 6, 5. The dude chucks, as we know, for Duncan Robinson. Yeah, I think that's interesting too. It's going to be what 1% owned or something on a slate value isn't great. Like Jay Crowder safer, Luke Kennard safer. There's no doubt about that. But we know when Duncan gets hot, he can fill it up for sure. Why the Grizz not playing Kenny Lofton? Yeah, I like seeing Kenny Lofton out there as well. But we aren't the coaches, unfortunately. Probably fortunately. I'd rather do this than coach. But let's get to the next game on the slate. That's a story. That's not a part of this. New Orleans Pelicans, Minnesota Timberwolves, 216 total. Minnesota is favored by 9. Going to the injury report, we'll start on the Minnesota side because there's nothing we have to worry about. That is not the case at all on the Pelican side. CJ McCollum out, Zion out, Alvarado out, Trey Murphy out, Najee Marshall out, and Herbert Jones is questionable. And that's probably pretty big news, is that Herb Jones news, because they're already so thin anyway. If he's out, I think Matt Ryan would probably get the start. And we did see Matt Ryan was last week. He's only 4.3K. He came in when he did start. He did very well. 27 DK points, 35 minutes. He did shoot the ball very well, went 6 for 8 from deep too. But those not familiar with Matt Ryan, you're thinking of the dusty old quarterback. The dude can fill it up. He's a sniper, flamethrower from deep, X-Buck there. I think he is if Herb Jones is out, I think he's very, very interesting at 4.3K, especially in a game where Jordan Hawkins is going to be 10 times high owned, regardless probably if Matt Ryan, he probably wouldn't be 10 times higher owned if Matt Ryan started, but Hawkins is getting all the love, and rightfully so, 4.7, 4.5 on FanDuel, so good prices there. Brandon Ingram at 8.3. I mean, I don't know how you can not mention him without Zion, without CJ. Price tag is up there a bit, but he's going to have a huge role, shooting guard and small forward eligibility, which you love to see. Joe Val, I don't know. I don't really love Joe Val in this spot. On the Minnesota side, though, Gobert, Naz Reid, Conley, none of them stand out, but I think all their prices are fair enough where if they land in my team, I'm good with it, especially because I do like some of these Pelicans. So how do you see this game going? It's not one we can fade, that's for sure.
Yeah, this one is, it kind of has.
I will say this. Thanks, Steven. Herb was at shoot around, so okay. We'll lean that he's playing, but again, monitor news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. You got to keep track of that one. This game kind of has sneaky blowout potential. I think that the Wolves are, fully healthy going against a injury-riddled team in the Pelicans. Minnesota is the top defensive team in the league right now, and they're playing super slow. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of fantasy implications in this. I mean, obviously with all the value opening up, you can definitely get to these guys. I like your call on Matt Ryan as the pivot off of Jordan Hawkins, who's looking at a ton of ownership right now. But I do think there's a decent amount of downside to guys like Brandon Ingram getting almost 30% ownership. Jonas Valanciunas, same thing. Rudy Gobert, as much as he's made fun of in the DFS community, is a really solid defender. So the matchup is definitely a negative for Joe Val. Ingram's going to be going against Jaden McDaniels, who's one of the top wing defenders in the league. Anthony Edwards, really solid wing defender. So I just think that there's a decent bit of downside for some of these Pelicans guys. I think I would just have the most interest in the value pieces, but they all seem to have gotten a price up. I mean, Dyson Daniels at 5K, he hasn't even been starting and he got priced up. Jordan Hawkins price didn't really move after the massive game, but he's extremely shooting dependent, and the Timberwolves are really good at limiting 3-pointers. So I think there's some downside to him. See, I don't love a ton on the Pelican side, especially in the game where they could get blown out. I don't really want to be spending up for Brandon Ingram, essentially.
So was Hawkins? So you look. Let me restart. So when we're playing NBA DFS, the first thing I always look at is who's out. Whoever's out, minutes, opportunity, matchups is way down the list for me. DVP, all of that stuff. It does matter though. There's no doubt about that. It sounds like you weighed it a little closer. Obviously, I still think you lean minutes and opportunity. Someone's out. I mean, they're underpriced. They're going to play more minutes. They're going to take more shots. You still value that more than the matchup, but you still, I think, it's closer for you than it is me. And you see a 9-point total. Timberwolves have been tough. Are you saying way underweight on Ingram, way underweight on Hawkins? So just limit all these Pelicans when some people are going to be playing them, like myself, just because I see all these guys out, only could get better without Herb Jones. And yeah, well, that's why I didn't like Joe Val as much. That matchup's easier for me. Gobert and Joe Val always tilts me, but the guys like Ingram, I love Jaden McDaniels. Both the McDaniels are complete studs on defense, long, athletic. But I also still know Brandon Ingram's going to be the guy and could shoot the ball 30 times, and it's always better O beats better D for me. What is your thoughts on that before we get to the next game?
Yeah, maybe I do weight it a little bit too much just because I spend the whole night before.
It's too much. There's no right or wrong answer, I don't think, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting pretty deep into all the matchup-based stuff, just having to do my write-ups the night before and just getting a little bit more information as the season gets a little bit further along that I can just kind of pick and choose some spots I can be a little bit underweight on. And this one just kind of seems like that. That's why I'm fine with the value pieces more so, just because the opportunity cost is a lot less than paying mid 8Ks for somebody like Brandon Ingram when he has a decent bit of downside and not that much upside, I don't think. And if you're talking about Jordan Hawkins priced around Marcus Sasser and Killian Hayes, I think I prefer those guys a little bit more for, they have just as equal amount of opportunity and a slightly better matchup, I think. So that's just kind of how I'm looking at it on this slate in particular.
No, I like it. That's definitely interesting. And if you're not trying to always improve your process, think differently. I mean, that's what everyone out there is doing in the DFS world. So you're always trying to get better. Rio's so in depth in this NBA with matchups, with pace, with everything. Does a huge breakdown, as we mentioned on the site, slate plan up the night before, breaking down all of that. So always trying picking the brain of Rio, picking the brain of sharper people than yourself, and get better there. So love that. I'm a Sean as well. 3 Seans all spelled the same way. So there you go there. What's going on, Marquis? Hope everything going well with you. Hey, if you're watching on playback, you just got in, do us a favor, hit that like button too. It takes a second out of your day. You guys don't like hearing it. I don't like asking, but it does help us. It helps Mayo out a ton. And if you want to join us at Chip and Nation, again, use that promo code Mayo. Gets you 10% off monthly, 6-month, or annual package, projections, ownership, core reports, showdown content, MMA, NHL, NFL, all the sports. Head over, Chip and Nation. Use that promo code Mayo. 3 games left, Rio. Toronto Raptors, Dallas Mavericks, 227 total. Dallas is favored by 4.5. On the Toronto side, Precious Achiuwa is questionable. Does not do anything for me. I will not be late. I will not be backloading due to Precious Achiuwa news, that's for sure. Other side, Derek Lively and Maxi Kleber is questionable. Definitely more important injury news on this side, especially if they both missed. Then maybe Dwight Powell is someone I actually would have interest in. What are your thoughts on a Dwight Powell? Just say if Lively's out and Kleber's in. Obviously, if Lively's in, no thank you at all on Dwight Powell. But 2 front court questionable tags, and Lively was a midday downgrade. So what does that do for you in that standpoint, and what does it do for you in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to have interest in Dwight Powell at 3,100. It's not the sexiest play, but if he's going to be starting and seeing mid-20s minutes, I don't see how you don't have interest in that. Yeah, the midday downgrade it usually leans to out, but never know. Weirder things have happened in the NBA, so we definitely have to keep an eye on that.
Especially because it's illness, though. He pumps with some injections. How does he feel before? That can get a little dicey. The midday downgrade with an ankle or that stuff is usually all right, coaches. Illness is who knows how he's feeling, but for sure he's not feeling 100%. Otherwise, he wouldn't be questionable or midday downgrade. So yeah, for sure.
Yes, I mean, regardless, even if he does play, I would assume his minutes are a little bit capped just for that reason of him being sick. But yeah, I don't. You can always make the case to play Luka. I'm definitely not telling you not to do that. He's 12K, huge upside as per usual. Been kind of having not as great a fantasy games the last 4 games actually. He started off super hot with 3 games in a row getting above 70. It's a little tough to pay up for him right now at 12K, and this does kind of feel like a Toronto team that matches up pretty well with the way Luka likes to play. They have a ton of super long, big defenders. OG Anunoby is probably going to be getting the Luka assignment. He's a really, really elite defender, so I weight that a bit. If you wanted to, I don't even think you need to make a pivot or like a leverage play to play Kyrie. It's just not really a good matchup for any one particular person on the Dallas side. So I think my interest would probably start and end with Dwight Powell if he's starting. And then I'm really not that interested in Toronto either. It would just be Scotty Barnes. I mean, he's been on a tear this year, been getting a ton of usage.
But the price has shown it.
Yeah,
8,
exactly.
9, man.
Yeah, he's expensive. I'm kind of questioning some of these price tags that DraftKings is giving us, but yeah, I don't. The matchup is pretty good for the centers against Dallas right now. They're pretty weak interior defense. So I don't like Dallas or Jakob Poeltl has a good matchup, but at 6K and he's not getting upper 30s minutes or even he hasn't touched 30 minutes once this year. So I don't love that. He's been a really good fantasy producer, but I want guys that are getting more minutes. So this game is more that I talk about it. It's just an X out minus Dwight Powell.
Yeah, I'm with you. If Dwight Powell does start, Lively's out. We don't have many 3K options that we loved. He's all the way down there, so gets you on a little different roster construction. And because of the time of this game, not many people might not have a utility center spot there. And then if Kleber was out and Lively was out, he'd get even a bigger boost. And I agree with you on Luka. Like I think Giannis is fine. You liked him a little more, but I still prefer Giannis in the $1,500 savings for sure to Luka. Scotty Barnes and OG, I expect them to throw both at him and not let Luka beat you. And yeah, it's that price tag's a little up there for me, especially not loving a lot of low 3K value. So I take the Giannis, the LaMelo, the high 9K options as well. It's more balanced than full stars and scrubs over here. 2 games left on the slate. Next game, Portland Trailblazers, Sacramento Kings, 221.5 total. Sacramento is favored by 8. On the Portland side, Scoot Henderson out, Anthony Simons out, Robert Williams out. So Brogdon continues to absolutely dominate. The price keeps coming up. But man, he's been very, very good. Going to the Sacramento side, De'Aaron Fox is out as well. So expect Davion Mitchell to continue to start. Yeah, I mentioned Brogdon. He is by far my favorite play in this game. I think ownership-wise, though, he is by far the most popular play in this game. 8.2K, it's definitely up there. Better price on FanDuel at 7.9. Fitz scoring a little better there with stock upside. But man, Fitz 47, 54 the past 2 games for Brogdon, 24, 26% usage rate. Can fill it up in multiple categories, rebounding, assists. 8.2 feels like a lot, but I'm definitely still good with that price tag. Outside of that, I don't know, like Shaedon Sharp's a complete stud, but 7.6, I think that price tag's a little up there for me. I'd just rather take the 600 with Brogdon. Higher floor, higher ceiling, in my opinion, too, because he does more in the peripherals. Ayton, Sabonis, Jeremy Grant, I think all of them are fine, but I don't know. No strong leans on any of them. What about you?
Yeah, in terms of the Blazers side, I definitely agree with you on your Malcolm Brogdon take. I mean, he's been just crushing it. The role has been really good for him. He doesn't lead the team in usage since Scoot's been down, but he's just right behind Jeremy Grant. But he's leading the team in touch time, 7.7 minutes, 107 total touches. Every meaningful category for a point guard, he's leading them in. So his role is really good. And the Kings, their defense is really struggling right now. I would not be surprised to see them make a lineup change. Mike Brown, their coach, said that nobody's role is sacred, and obviously besides Sabonis and Fox, but Herter and Davion Mitchell have been struggling really bad. Keegan Murray has been struggling too in the starting lineup, so I would not be surprised to see them make a lineup change. I don't know who would be. Maybe they bring up Chris Duarte or Colby Jones or something like that, just to kind of shake things up a little bit because this lineup has been super bad. But yeah, I like the matchup a lot for Sabonis here at 10K. He's looking at pretty much no ownership right now. Has had a really bad game last time out, but the Blazers are the second worst rim defense in the league right now. He's averaging a ton of points at the rim, seeing a huge usage bump, assist rate bump with no De'Aaron Fox, been kind of flirting with the triple-double most games. The Portland defense is top 10 in the year right now, but I think that is kind of weighted by playing a team like the Grizzlies twice, they might be dead last in the league right now in terms of offensive rating, so that kind of boosts them up. I don't want to look into that too much, but yeah, the role and the matchup for Sabonis is super strong right now. I think he has a good amount of upside at 10K. Could definitely see him get into the 60s here. Yeah, Shaedon Sharpe, he kind of acts as direct pivot off of Malcolm Brogdon, looking at mid-20s ownership. I mean, his minutes are insane this year. He's seen 40 already 4 times this year. A couple of those were in overtime, but I mean, he's safely in the upper 30s, and he can get hot. Definitely could pay off that tag and works as a little leverage spot off of Malcolm Brogdon, who's going to be looking at some ownership. I did want to mention Jabari Walker because it looks like the Blazers might have lost Robert Williams for the whole year with another knee injury. Sucks for him. I really like him as a player, but yeah, he's just always injured. Jabari Walker should be getting the backup center minutes, and I think Robert Williams was averaging about 19, 20 minutes a game, and Jabari Walker was already seeing, 9 to 10 in a game, so he might have ish 25 minutes, and he's been a really solid fantasy producer when he's gotten the minutes. I wouldn't mind him at 3,200. I mean, probably a better play than some of the other guys in that 3K range. There's not a ton to like down there right now, and he's got power forward and center eligibility.
Him or Powell. If Powell was starting, you'd go Powell, though?
If Powell's starting, yeah, I would probably go Powell. But it is kind of nice having the power forward eligibility for him, too, just to have that flexibility. You don't have to waste a center or a util spot on him.
And there's not much cheap guys down there, so yeah. Gets you on a different roster construction. It could eat more chalk. It makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be Brogdon, Sharpe, and then Jabari Walker on the Blazers side. You can always play Jeremy Grant if you want. Matchup is not great. Price tag's going up. I don't think he has like 50, 55 point upside at this tag. So yeah, I don't really love it. But yeah, just those three guys mainly.
Yeah, so bonus shot was interesting because the ownership's way down. The price is right, and B, the center position's very good. You only can play 2 max, but hey, I like targeting those spots in tournaments because the position's great, the price tag's fine. There's still no De'Aaron Fox, and it's a bonus with monster upside, as we know. So, yeah, I think he's interesting as well. Brogdon definitely the best play in the game. 1 game left, Rio. 14 to talk about. We're on the 14th one. Great job so far. Golden State Warriors, Denver Nuggets, 227 half total. Nuggets are favored by 3.5. Gary Payton is questionable. Draymond is out. And then going to the other side, Jamal Murray is still out. Reggie Jackson will continue to start. Now, I got to ask you. Actually, I'll let you break down this game. But Draymond Green, with him being out, who are they going to start? Is it Kuminga? Is it Moody? I don't think CP3 will get back in the starting lineup. I think it's one of those two. No strong lean at all. Do you have any strong lean? And the reason I'm asking all this is because it's the last game of the night. And if I knew it was Kuminga or if I knew it was Moody, yeah, I'd have more interest. And especially with Gary Payton being questionable, I mean, you can give a little minutes bump to Moody there as well. A guy that's on the floor getting minutes. So any lean there and then any interest in this game?
I was kind of thinking it would be CP3 stepping into the lineup again because, yeah, I mean, when Draymond was out, it was CP3 starting for him. Yeah. You can just kind of slide everybody up. Clay can move to the. I just
didn't know with the with the Nuggets size if they'd go a little bigger because MPJ at the 3, if they go Curry or CP3 Curry Clay. I mean, yeah, I guess Clay can be on MP. I don't know. It feels they'd be a little small, but yeah, you think it's CP3 and he's definitely a solid price tag. Sorry to cut you off. Thinking out loud.
Yeah, it's all good. The reason I think that is just because it's a different ball game if Jamal Murray is in there too. I think that does kind of change things. You can just throw CP3 on Reggie Jackson or KCP. I don't think that they're really going to be beating you as the same way that Jamal Murray would. So maybe we would have saw Kuminga or or somebody a Moody start if Jamal Murray's in. I think that kind of changes things a little bit. So I think that it's going to be CP3 running the point for them again. His price tag has kind of stayed the same ever since the beginning of the season when he was at 5,600, 5,500, whatever he was. So I think he might be a little bit overpriced right now. But yeah, this game is going to be really fun. Warriors traveling to Denver, not in a back-to-back, so we don't really have to worry about that. I know Boomer always has a rule to not play teams on a back-to-back going into Denver. I just don't think that this is this can be a really fun game to watch. It's going to have that playoff atmosphere, but there's not a ton of plays that really stick out to me outside of Jokic. Obviously, at 11-7, he's cheaper than Luka. Warriors have actually been kind of getting beat at the rim a little bit. They're sorry, I'm looking at my matchup stuff. Well, regardless, matchups don't really matter for a guy like Nikola Jokic. He's going to have all the usage, going to be running the point with no Jamal Murray. Had a massive game last time out, didn't even see that big of a usage bump, and still put up a 35-point triple-double. Yeah, I think that this could be a game that he gets up for, just a big game against the Warriors, two of the best teams in the West. So I like him. Obviously, a lot to suspend up. You can always get to Steph if you want to make that move. He just hasn't seen – his usage is down on the year with Chris Paul entering the lineup, so I don't really love it at 10-1. Clay, way too expensive. Chris Paul, way too expensive. I'm not playing Looney against Jokic. Andrew Wiggins' price is kind of interesting at 5,400, but he's really rusty right now. He's not shooting the ball well, not seeing a ton of minutes. The rotation is super wide for the Warriors. They even got to a 12-man rotation a couple games ago. They're consistently playing 10 guys in a night, so it's not like anybody's getting any huge minutes bump. So it's hard to really make a case for anybody. I guess maybe Dario Saric at 4,400. This seems like a matchup that he could kind of thrive in. He's been consistently seeing minutes in the 20s. Really good fantasy producer. A little expensive for that little of minutes, but yeah, I don't have a ton of interest really on either side. It's just going to be Jokic and then maybe mixing in Aaron Gordon and MPJ wherever you see fit. They both have been stepping up big time offensively with no Jamal Murray, gotten up to 40 in 3 games in a row. So those guys are fine. But yeah, mainly just Jokic for me in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jokic, MPJ is my second favorite. I mean, the dude just chucks, and he needs to chuck even more without Jamal. If it goes in, that's a different question. But 38, at least 38 in his past 3 games. He'd be my second favorite. On the Warriors side, I mean, if it's CP3 starting, I'd like him. If it's Kuminga and Moody starting, I like him too. I would really like if it's Moody starting and Gary Payton's out too. I think that'd be a smash. Great spot and a huge minutes boost. But right now, because this game's the last game of the night and I'm not confident on who's going to start, I just don't really want to mess with the Warriors situation. We have a 14-game slate. It's more of a showdown in the night slate, of course, at this game. But watching it will be great. Yeah, and that's part of the reason I didn't like Luka as much, because if I am going all the way up, I prefer Jokic. $300 less, no Jamal. Great spot there. So it's Jokic and MPJ. 14 games, great stuff, Rio. Hour 15, talking some hoops. Hope everybody out there enjoyed it. What we enjoy, the like button helps us out, and Mayo appreciates that subscribe button down below. If you do want to head over to SHIPITNation.com, get Rio's whole slate plan breakdown, his core plays, Tambo's core plays, Hamwich, cash core report, projections, and ownership, FanDuel, DraftKings. You want to get in the Discord for the best community out there. Such knowledgeable members, very nice people, no tilt. It's crazy. It's crazy in there, and it's absolutely awesome to see. Use that promo code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any plan. Monthly, $69 a month. 6 month comes out to $59 a month. Annual comes out to $49 a month. That is before using that code MAYO, so check that out. Get in the Discord if you do join. Great stuff as always, Rio. 0 games yesterday, 14 games today. It's nice having some hoops back in our lives. Appreciate everyone hanging out as always. Let's see some Shipping Nation logos up top tonight. For Rio, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.